So I'm getting ready to work on the next layout in the paper bag album with the My Mind's Eye Sunshine paper, and I'm going to start by making another two-toned photo mat using an inked embossing folder. So again, I've inked one side of the embossing folder, and I'm putting the cardstock face down on the inked side and then running it through to get an image that is both white and blue. And now I'm taking a little sponge and some charcoal ink, and I'm just going around very lightly on the edges, not to distress it, but more to just kind of neaten up the edges and give it a shadowed effect. Then I'm taking the die that I used to cut out this photo mat, and I'm tracing around the edges so I can cut a photo mat out with my scissors that's just ever so slightly larger than the die shape itself. And that way I get a nice thin crisp white edge all the way around the die like so. Which I'm just going to adhere down to the left side of the left page. I'm just going to stick that down with some ATG. And then I'm going to decorate around it. So I know that I want to use a lot of yellow and white on this layout. And what I've done is I've taken some yellow buttons from Jenny Bolin and a yellow Prima flower, and I'm gluing them on top of white flowers from Petaloo from the Color Me Crazy Layers of Color bundle you saw on my desk there. And I'm just now going to glue the largest of the three that has the Prima flower in the center to the corner, and I'm careful to get glue not get any glue on the photo mat itself. That way a photo can still slide underneath. And I'm just going to now add in some more of my blue butterflies to frame in the photo page. And actually what I have them doing here, I think it's just kind of flying up the side of the layout. So they look like they're flying along the edge. And I've glued them to the flower and to the edge of the bag, and you're going to see them here, how they're kind of just flying up the side there. And now I want to stamp a definition stamp, and it's all in one long acrylic stamp. But I don't want it to stamp in one long piece. I want to stamp it in sections. So I'm just cutting the stamp up. It's no big deal to cut up acrylic stamps. If you want to do it all in one long line later, you can always just stick them end to end on a block. It's not going to hurt them at all to cut them up into pieces like this. As long as you don't cut through the image, I just cut in the spaces between. So now I'm going to cut out all my little pieces of my definition. I'm just going to use scissors. If it's not 100% perfectly straight, it's okay. You won't be able to tell on such small pieces. And now I'm going to drag the edges of the pieces across the top of this charcoal ink pad. And that's going to put a very thin, very clean line of charcoal ink around all the edges. And I'm just going to glue them to my page, kind of staggered along the edge of my photo mat, and I'm using the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. And you can see how it looks there. So that's the definition for blessed, and there's that side of the page. Just wanted to pull in some more gray now. It was starting to look a little too just blue, white, and yellow, and I was losing that charcoal. So I took charcoal crystal and pearl swirls from Prima, and I cut them up, and I'm just adding them here and there around the page. You can see how that helps kind of ground the flowers and the images and things like that. Give it some weight and a little more elegance. So now we're going to move on to the next page, and we're going to make a pocket out of a piece of flocked transparency from Fancy Pants. It's a transparency with a flocked damask image in a gray. And it's a little bit busy when it's right on the yellow polka dot, so we're going to make it a pocket with some white cardstock behind. So to make it a pocket, just score 1/4 inch from 3 of the edges, both of the long edges and 1 of the short edges, and fold those up and score them. And that gives you a very basic sort of a pocket. And here you can see I'm snipping the edges just so there's less bulk on the edges when you fold. And now I'm just going to fold it in towards the back so that the flocked side will be on the outside and it'll be smooth on the inside for things to slide in and out easily. And now that my 3 edges have been folded in, you can see how I slipped this white piece of paper in, and now that design is really sharp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put adhesive on 3 sides of the white cardstock, both long sides and 1 short side. And then I'm going to slip it in so that the areas of the cardstock that have adhesive match up with the flaps on the acetate, and I then will just fold the edges over into the adhesive. And that's going to get me a pocket. And that's how you can use a piece of decorative transparency to make a pocket without the design showing through 2 layers and looking really busy. And now I'm just going to add red tape to the back of this so I can adhere it down to my page. So I'm just using the red tape, and I get a lot of questions about where I get my red tape. I use an off-brand manufactured in Germany, which I purchased from a website called Articus Studio Designs. It's not acid-free, but neither is the regular red tape, so I don't worry about that. Now I'm going to take this die from Cheery Lynn, which is a very, very intricate butterfly die, and I'm going to cut it out of white cardstock. And to get all of those tiny little pieces in without having to poke each one out individually with a piercing tool, I'm just taking a piece of blue painter's tape and removing the loose pieces that way. I'm adding Scotch foam tape just to the body of the butterfly, and that's what I'm going to glue down, and that way the wings will be totally free. And then I'm taking another one, I'm taking one of those yellow buttons that's on the flower, a white flower, and I'm gluing it in the center of the butterfly so it forms the butterfly's body now. And then finally I'm just taking a piece of white cardstock and using the stub punch from We Are Memory Keepers on the edges to make it ticket shaped. And then I'm putting a little bit of adhesive at the top, and I'm gluing down another one of the buttons with flowers and sticking it into the pocket. So that tag will pull out for photos, journaling, or whatever. And now I'm going to carry the blue onto this page because so far there's no blue on this page whatsoever. And I'm going to do that with the butterflies. So I'm adhering a butterfly to each of the buttons and the flowers so that there will be blue on that page. And then I just quickly thought that the base of the bling needed a little butterfly to ground it and connect it to the definition there on that page. So I glued one more down, and that's that layout. So stay tuned for the next layout in the album, and thanks so much for watching this series.